Okay, I was on mute. Is everyone else off mute?
You are now.
Okay, great.
Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you good, yeah.
All right.
Okay, so let me just start this over really quick. And okay. Yes, Malik?
Got no audio.
We have it now. Okay.
And can you let Malik know I have a television interview at 5 p.m. my time, and
Okay.
I have a hard stop at 5 p.m. Arizona time. Thank you.
Okay. He hears you. We're live on his Facebook page.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so he's watching the entire thing. He will not be joining us. Again, greetings. My name is Dr. Trinity Amun. I'm the director of Shabazz University, which is founded by Dr. and attorney Malik Zulu Shabazz. Okay, he has structured this entire presentation from the beginning to end. We have two guests joining us today. Roy Tatem. He is the president of the East Valley NAACP in Arizona. Okay, and we have Dr. Ted Sutton, who is the founder of Sutton House at suttonhousevision.com. He will be joining us as well. Okay, I see he's on here, but no video.
Yes, how you doing?
Oh, there you are. Okay, hello, Dr. Sutton.
How you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good.
Okay, so we're going to go right into it here. Roy Tatem needs to finish up fairly soon. So we're going to just get a report. I guess we can start off with you, Roy Tatem, a report of the current national anti-police brutality movement and any recommendations you may have would be very, very appreciated.
All right, no problem. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.
I will say first and foremost to all of those listening, thank you for tuning in. And now is the time more than ever to understand your rights, understand how important it is to educate yourself, educate your family as it relates to dealing with law enforcement. Um, why is Arizona important in this conversation? Just 2 years ago, 2018, um, the Phoenix Police Department led the nation in lethal use of lethal force in the society. And so, outpacing New York, outpacing Los Angeles, outpacing Houston, outpacing Chicago, Phoenix Police Department was the deadliest police department in the nation. And so, we've taken a number of measures of collaborative effort of community stakeholders, not just one organization, not just one religious group, not even just one race of people, but it took a collaborative effort for everyone to come together to address the systemic police brutality that we are experiencing here in Arizona. And as we begin to dive into it, as we begin to peel back the layers, it wasn't just use of lethal force. It wasn't just police brutality. There was sexism. There was racism. There was sexual abuse. There was mental abuse. There was incompetency on officers dealing with those with mental health issues. So we are continuously working around the entire issue of policing to understand how we arrived at this problem. And obviously, we know that there are millions of dollars. We're looking at it from a budgetary standpoint. We understand that there are millions of dollars allocated, tens of millions of dollars allocated to military equipment, to weapons, guns, tanks, all artillery, body armor, and all of that. But there was little to no investment in education, in mental health training, in diversity in recruitment. And so we already know that there's a recipe for disaster when you give a law enforcement body that's pretty autonomous. I mean, we're talking about a majority white male that began to police Black and brown communities with pretty much impunity. now the conversation is around qualified immunity, because many people didn't understand that you could not sue law enforcement when they, broke into your house, or when they, violated your civil rights. You did not, because of qualified immunity, you didn't have the legal ground to fight the police directly. You usually had to sue the city, or you had to have a federal lawsuit come in, and that took obviously time, money, and resources. So where are we now? Obviously, a local conversation has turned into a national conversation with the death of George Floyd. Everyone around the country is talking about policing, police brutality, use of lethal force, and what can we do. So the closing to my opening statement will be: you can get involved in your local community. Identify your local police chief, call them up, let them know you want to meet, let them know you want to talk. I understand there may be some apprehension to meeting with the police or talking to the police, but as you've got to do it. This is something that I would highly suggest, talking and letting them know that you are a part of the community. And I'm talking about wherever you live, whatever city you live in, you have a right to do that. Your tax dollars pay their salaries. They pay for their building. They pay for those facilities. They pay. So you have the ability to ask questions. You have the ability to ask for the use of force report. That's something that I've got to jump on to a television station in a few minutes to discuss use of force. You can discuss traffic stops. You can discuss how many times how many officers have received complaints this month, this quarter, this year. So there are a number of things that you can inquire about to bring to the police chiefs and the police leadership attention. And understand this: when I'm talking about dealing with the police chief in the executive level of a police department, it's a different level than the rank and file. Because the rank and file, they just look at them as your privates in the army. They're your foot soldiers. But those that rose to the top in the executive leadership in law enforcement, a lot of them are educated. A lot of them have a lot of years of law enforcement, but they've not only mastered law enforcement, they've also educated themselves, and they understand that it's important to engage with community. However, they feel that, and I understand this, many community members, many of us, especially as Black men, are not comfortable going to the police department, making demands and asking questions. But this is something that we've got to do and start doing.
Okay. Yes, because a lot of people want to feel empowered to change the situation. So they want to know, as individual, regular, everyday people, what can they really do to change it? Or is it just a losing battle?
No, they can. I once again, and this can be your community organization. This can be your church. This can be your just a group of concerned citizens that can organize. You can organize yourself and say, "Hey, we want to discuss with the police department the record. They have to. It's your data. It's your information, and so we have a right to do that." Now, obviously, we need to operate with a level of decorum and professionalism. Let's not go in belligerent with the police, or if we've got a personal chip on our shoulder, if we've got our own. Many people get involved. Many people don't get involved until they have a personal issue. What I'm encouraging you to do is be proactive. Get involved now. And this is whatever city you're in, you can begin to organize right here, right in your local community, and take people to the police. If you don't want to go to the police, call your mayor, call the city council. Use the tools that everybody else uses. Any other community, when they have a problem in their community, they call the city council member. They call the mayor. Why? Because they're politically and civically engaged. We've got to do the same thing.
Okay. So currently, has there been any changes in Arizona currently from the current climate of what's going on with the protests and the activism? What has changed, like, immediately or recently in Arizona that you know?
Saying as of late, the use of force and the lethal force has definitely declined. However, we did see we did see some pockets of police overreach and some heavy-handed policing during the George Floyd protests. And shortly thereafter, the police chief made a statement, a public statement, condemning that, apologizing for that, coming out to march with protesters, and many in the police. And we have a Black female police chief in Phoenix. Her name's Jerry Williams. Chief Jerry Williams is a Black female police chief here, and so she is genuinely, and I believe her, that she's genuinely trying to do her best with turning the police department around. When we had that influx of police shootings in 2018, she was less than a year in as the police chief. So many people feel that the police began to overreact and over-police, especially in communities of color, as retribution to her, and as the Black police chief, because there were some other people that, you know, whenever you go up for police chief, you know, there are a ton of people that want that job, and if their guy or their girl doesn't get it, you know, there's also some backlash to that. Phoenix is also the 5th largest city in the country. A lot of people don't realize that. Phoenix is the 5th largest city, behind New York, behind LA, behind Houston, behind Chicago. Then you have Phoenix, Arizona with population. So as far as population is concerned, we have one of the largest minority growing populations as well. And we believe that the U.S. Census will reflect that. So just there's a lot happening in Phoenix. A number of people from Chicago moved to Phoenix. A lot of people from the Midwest, Detroit, come to Phoenix. A lot of people are coming east from LA to Phoenix due to cost of living. So a lot of people, you know, there are a number of high-profile companies, a lot of big business, Fortune 50, Fortune 100 companies here in Phoenix and the greater Phoenix area as well. So we're also applying pressure there as well to make sure that they use their influence to hear our voice.
Okay. Well, I know you have to wrap it up soon. I just have one last question. What is your vision? What do you think is going to come out of this for the immediate future, maybe in the midterm future and long-term future? What do you see as someone who is an expert really in this, in activism? What do you see long-term, midterm, short-term future of this police brutality issue in this country?
What I see is, and it's already happening, people are interested, people are coming together, people are finally putting policing and police brutality, use of force at the top of mind, and you should, because here's my thing, it doesn't matter whether it's marriage equality, healthcare, Social Security, any other issue is secondary if you have a police state. We have to combat the establishment of a police state. And when I say a police state, I'm talking about suspension of the Bill of Rights. You know, so you already see this administration trying to suppress the press, trying to suppress freedom of speech, trying to suppress legal protests and gatherings, and even calling Black Lives Matter a domestic terrorist organization. All of those things, those aren't dog whistles. Those are bullhorns that are trying to put Black organizers and Black activists in the direct line of danger from those that don't want to see our cause succeed. So we've got to be vigilant. We've got to have offense and defense. We've got to make sure that we organize locally, because the powers that be and those that don't want to see us progress, they're already organizing locally. Okay, we know that. That's no secret. So short term, we've got to survive this summer. I'm hoping that everyone does use their civic duty and civic right to vote. Your vote does matter. Your vote does count. I was just on the line with a would-be elected official out of Detroit, but she lost, and I'm talking about a powerful sister that lost her position by 6 votes. Okay, so every vote does matter. Your vote counts. So we've got to get through the summer. Let's be as productive as possible. We got to stay safe. We got to stay safe from the COVID-19. So your health does matter. Be sure not to just be out doing dumb stuff. We've got to make sure that we have an agenda. So while we're on quarantine, while we're on in our self-imposed stay-at-home order, we've got to begin to work on what is our local plan. What is our local plan around criminal justice? What is our local plan around education? What is our local plan around business and economic development? All of these things need to be, and I just gave you to me what the top 3 things that we as Black people should be focusing on in our community: education, criminal justice, business and economic development. Those 3 things should be top of mind. And shortly following after that, we're talking about environmental justice, healthcare. All of those things play into the full scope. So long term is beginning to build institutions. We've got to turn, I believe I heard my brother Jeff Johnson say, we've got to go from the hustle to the institution. So a lot of us will protest, and this is what I equate to being the hustle. We'll see an event, we'll see something on Facebook, we hit the streets, we protest. No justice, no peace. No justice, no peace. Right? Black Lives Matter. We do all that. No fighting, fight the power. But then we fall back to sleep. We get back comfortable. So now, where is our organizing body? Where's our institution building? And this is why I'm glad. And I told Malik, I said, look, we've got to begin to work together to build institutions to institutionally fight back the systems that want to oppress us. And so I'm excited that my brother Malik Zulu Shabazz took me up on the offer and brought me on to this show. And I look forward to working with everybody and anybody that I can help and answer questions for. I'm happy to do that in the future.
Well, great. That's wonderful. You have brought up some excellent poignant points. And I hope our audience is really taking heed to your advice and your information. Very important. I know you have to head out now, but we really are thankful that you were able to make it and talk to us today.
I look forward to future conversations.
Most definitely. Thank you. Have a great day.
You all too.
Okay. Okay, now we're going to bring on Dr. Ted Sutton of the Sutton House Vision. Okay. Let's see, are you in here? I think you're on mute.
Yes, I'm here.
Hello, greetings.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good.
Wonderful. So you know we're talking about the National Anti-Police Brutality Reports, and I know you have a lot of experience throughout the nation doing activism. You even mentioned creating a group where you're going around videotaping police activity. So you have a lot to offer to this conversation. So I'm going to let you start off with your recommendations, with your perspective of what's going on currently, and your future vision of what's going to come out of all of this.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate just the opportunity, because I think that more than ever, we really have to seize this moment. I think that we really have to seize this moment. And I've been around, and I was in Ferguson and different things. And here I'm in Baltimore, Maryland. So when the situation with Freddie Gray went down, I was boots on the ground. In fact, the night that he was actually attacked or assaulted by the officers, I was down and went down to the projects where everything kind of kicked off at, and was trying to touch base with some of his friends who were very, very agitated about how they saw he was treated before the information got out and went anywhere. But I will say that I try to let people know that this is actually not a sprint, it's a marathon. And so we have to pace ourselves with how we do things, because, we can be very emotional, people at different times, but I want them to have this same type of zeal, the same type of fire now that they have when it's time to vote, when it's time to protest later, when it's time to focus on the legislation that's going to have to be put in place with dealing with the systemic situation that's going on. And so, you know, I'm actually just coming back from Minneapolis, and I was right there speaking at the George Floyd, you know, memorial, and just seeing how that whole thing transpired, you know, and everything. But what I see is that, to me, this is something. This is a moment in time that we really have the opportunity to really change some things. Now, this is with my personal view. I feel that I really haven't seen something, I would say, to this degree since the 60s, you know. And so we are in a definitely a place, you know, as far as with that. I'm the founder of Men Against Murder. I'm the founder of the Sutton House Incorporated, and also the People Can Change Youth Movement. And so prior to all of this, actually a couple of years ago, when I was doing the Ministers of Defense, we used to drive around and police. And this is before it was everybody was pulling out their phones, when people had those small hand camcorders, you know, and we were videotaping and you know, and it wasn't popular at the time, to be honest with you. And what was different about that is you really couldn't go live at the time. And this is, you know, so, and when you couldn't go live, that means that, you know, you still had to protect that tape, and you had to like secure the bag until you could get it somewhere to upload or to download or to get it in someone's hands so it could be public information. But now, you know, we're at a different moment in time where even technology is changing how the movement is done.
That's very true. So you can basically go like, are you still there?
Yes, I'm still here.
Okay, good. Yeah.
Here.
So you're basically saying it's really important now to take advantage of the current technology and being able to videotape these police incidents and go live, so you won't have to just try to protect the recorded material. So you're advocating that as something that we should all do. Is that?
Yes, that's one part of it, and also for me, I think that I found a level of division even in our own movement, and when I say that, you know, like pretty much both of my parents were civil rights leaders. You know, father organized with Dr. King, mother worked for Medgar Evers. You know, my grandfather was one of the people that they considered the deacons of defense that stood against the Klan, you know, years ago. Now, that being said, I was their middle child that got hooked up with one of the roughest groups that was on the East Coast, and that's the people they wrote the series called The Wire behind. So I had a unique life with having people who were definitely civil rights leaders, growing up in a household of that, but then also growing up in the streets of Baltimore, where I definitely saw predators and prey, and I had made a decision that I wasn't going to be one of the prey. You know, so with that being said, I had the opportunity to see both sides of the avenue, and so what I personally feel is that it's going to take some of these brothers that dashiki wearing, incense burning, spoken word, you know, brothers who may have this information, and we may have to also reach out to some of these brothers, pants hanging down, gold teeth, Yamin type brothers, and because they're warriors, and we're going to have to actually bring, you know, all of them together. You know, at this time, we need a bridge to bring the, you know, both. We need to bring the young with the old. We have to bring the conscious with the unconscious. We have to, you know, break down the own personal barriers, because see, that way of dividing us has kept our level of strength down. But if we could actually build that up, I see this as being a moment that pretty much we could seize the moment to really make some serious change, you know, at this time. I mean, literally, we have the eyes of the world on Black lives. literally, we are in a position where people are in the middle of an election year. Really, you know what I'm saying? You had people that when the situation happened with George Floyd, when he was assassinated that day, when he was lynched that day, the world happened to see a black male get extinguished on live television and on social media. And so it was the perfect storm, even with the COVID that was had everybody inside and different things. So the next day, people did not have to go to work and people did not have to go to school. And so it was a situation that ended up being the perfect storm. And that I just feel that it's necessary for us to come together at this point right now to really make change. And I've even told people, I said, when you even go biblical, Genesis 15:13, it talks about a people who are in a distant land that is not of their own. And it says that they will endure slavery and oppression for 400 years. And when you do the math of the first slaves coming here, which we weren't slaves, my descendants, I feel, were POWs and prisoners of war. But when you do the math, they came in 1619 in Jamestown, Virginia, and the 400 years was up in 2019. And so I feel that this is a moment in time. And when my children and my children's children are older, I want them to be able to go back in time and say, well, what did daddy do, or what did pop do? You know, and I want to let them know when everything was hitting the fan, your father, your grandfather, he was standing and he was taking a stand against injustice. And so I feel that this is the time, and I feel that we should be ready for it.
Okay. So you feel that this is a time really to unify us,
yes,
across the board, to really stand up. If we're going to do it, this is the time to do it. Basically, that's your perception, that's your perspective, right?
Yes.
To unify us across the board at this time, regardless of religion, class level. And you feel that that will be something that could change things in the future? Or do you think this is just a moment in time and things are just going to go back to the way they've been?
Well, I will say this. There's a deep rooted seed of racism that is in America. It's in the soil. It's the blood that's down in the grass and in the soil. And so with that being said, it's going to take more time for a certain element to almost die off, because we have a lot of people that, I mean, I've never seen so many people fight as hard for the Confederate flag and people wanted to fight so hard to keep General Lee and on the school that my child might have to go to. And so I've always been an advocate, against some of these things, but I do feel it will take some time, but to really fully change. But I feel that this is a turning point right now, that if we don't seize this moment now, that we may never get this type of perfect storm, is what I'm saying, all together, for a long time from now.
I agree. I definitely agree. What do you think some of the practical things just your everyday average person can do right now to help change what's going on with police brutality, in addition to the videotaping that you mentioned earlier?
Well, you know what? It's funny you say that, because I kind of feel like, you have people that want to save the world, but really, I think that you have to start home first. I think you have to really start home. I mean, I literally sat my children down and I showed them the musket that my great grandfather had, and of coming out of slavery that I have now. And then I showed them the some of the history of even the shotgun, Old Betsy, that my grandfather had that goes back to 1918. And I'm only sharing that, you know, and I was sharing this with my sons and my daughter, and because I want them to know the history, and I want them to know how far that we actually have come. But I also need for them to know that we haven't arrived all the way either. And so I think that the average everyday person can learn more themselves about what has been done in the past and what we can do. And also, you know what, I would tell people to stop being a watcher, because unfortunately, the people who really have the power to normally make decisions that can make change normally aren't the people that are suffering the most. So you have people who have a voice, but some of them have been a little bit disconnected with that young man that's in the projects, that a father is incarcerated and the mother has gotten caught up on drugs, and he's had to try to fend for himself. And so we have to, I would say, see what you're doing now, and then ask yourself, can I do more? See, for me, I've run in a burning building. People can Google Dr. Ted Sutton, but if you Google crazy Ted Sutton, my face is going to come up. I've run in a burning building. I've saved a girl from a house fire, pulled out and was on fire, stopped a carjacker from carjacking somebody, stopped a mugger from mugging somebody. I've taken gang members into my home. I started transitional housing for young men to get out of gangs all around the country, you know, that I've been working with youth and different things of that nature. But I don't necessarily advocate that people should do exactly what I'm doing. It was because of my journey of what I went through, of why I'm doing what I'm doing. You know what I'm saying? I don't want you to try to attempt to do certain things unless you feel that that's your calling. But I do know this, you know, a lot of people who have been saying, oh no, that nobody should be out there marching, and I don't understand why they broke a window there and they did this, and people were focusing on what they were doing and not focusing on why they were doing. And so for me, I would ask for some that may have been a little bit disconnected, and you have not been mentoring, you have not been working with you people. You have just really taken a position that I got my college degree, I got me a nice house in the suburbs, I got an alarm on my car and a fence around my house. And if it's not, if something is not going off, if my alarm is not going off on my car or my house, then it's not my problem. And I want them to take a stand to say, you know what, no, this is my problem. That even though that my house is not being broken into right now, somebody's house is being broken into right now, and that is my problem. And so that I feel that that's really, you know, the position that we have to take as is just as simple individuals, just the average everybody, you know, everyday person. I think that it's for you to really look at your situation and analyze, am I doing the most that I possibly can do? Now, somebody may say, yeah, actually I am. I feed the homeless every Saturday. I do this and I do that. Well, if that's the case, then fine. But there's somebody that is not living up to their potential for their community. And I think that we can show that we can be better than what society has said that, you know, some of our youth are, and we could help to make that change. And so I think that this is the perfect opportunity for you to get, I would say, in touch with and knowledgeable about some of the laws, some of the information that's going on, and then also see how can we maybe assist certain programs or organizations that may need some assistance. And because I've said that actually a lot of people who are saying that, no, they shouldn't have been marching. No, they just need to go home and we just need to come together and sing Kumbaya and everything. For the most part, most of them have good jobs, have a nice house, and they are not dealing with the level of oppression that some of the young men that I deal with on a day-to-day basis. And so I would ask for them to get in contact with certain, because you don't have to always start, you know, and remake the wheel. If there's an organization that's grassroots and they're on the ground, then please connect with them. If you do not know some, believe me, you can connect with me. I would love to introduce you to maybe 20 or 30 young men and women who are looking for someone to show them just a ray of hope.
Okay. So basically, we definitely need to address an inertia when it comes to reaching out and connecting with each other, is what you see that as a really big problem.
Yes, yes.
Okay. So we're just more concerned about our own personal lives instead of what's going on at large with our people. And that needs to be addressed, but not just thought about, but actively.
Right.
Okay. That's accurate completely. What is your, I guess the same thing I asked Roy, what do you think is going to come out of this as far as long-term, mid-term, short-term? What is your vision of the future of these police issues in this country?
Oh, wow. Well, you know what? Well, to be honest with you, like I've tried to share with some people that immediately you have some people that say, no, I just want to defund all the police. I want them to. And I said, well, look, we have to be realistic with certain things. When I say that, meaning that until you are prepared to police your own communities in a way that can be realistic, you know, we have to try to work with the system. And to be honest with you, and when I say that, you know, I'm saying that it's definitely the system that is put in place is not fair. The system that's put in place now is not just for some of us. And so what I would say is that we need to stand together, apply pressure, let them know that everything is being watched, they're being seen. You know, I mean, because to be real honest with you, when I saw that video, I went on a show and I actually said that really I would have been prepared to make a citizen's arrest against that officer. I would be, I mean, because, and I feel that when an officer is breaking the law, he is no longer an officer. And so for me, I feel that we need to look at things with wraparound services for what's happening in our communities. And so if they need, there are too many, it doesn't make any sense that an officer, that a barber actually has to have more hours to be a barber, to be certified, than an officer. I think that, you know, which one is more dangerous? The person that has a set of clippers that could mess my hair up, or the person that has a stun gun, a baton, mace, and also a firearm and a shotgun and a riot shotgun in the car. I think that we have to really look at what's going on, you know, with that. But I feel that if we stay together and let people know that we are going to be watching everything, that we're going to be on top of everything. And to be honest with you, I actually put out a plea. We should, some of these good officers, some of the officers that are actually good, should really be the one that they should be even more angry than we are about how some of they're treating, you know, with people. Even though the young man that got gunned down in front of Wendy's, and then you saw that he was intoxicated. I don't expect for a person that is intoxicated to always make the best decisions. He makes a quick decision that he wants to just run, and you have his car, you have his keys. He can't really go over so far. I mean, I did not see that. He's probably thinking about, my daughter's birthday is tomorrow and I want to be there for her. And so I get him actually making, let's say, not the best decision, but to me, why does the decision always go back to, well, if this young man had did this, maybe if Tamir Rice that had the BB gun, maybe if he hadn't had it outside. And I mean, we cannot, how does the person that has all of the certifications, all of the degrees and everything else still put the charge on what the person that has mental health issues or the person that may be intoxicated, or the person that's on drugs, or different things of that nature. So we have to definitely make sure that they are more well equipped to deal with the actual different issues of what's going on in our community, and everything is not resolved with possibly a firearm. And so, you know, you have to, and I get tired of hearing that I was in fear for my life. Well, if they're in fear for their life for some of the issues that they come up on, that means that that means that 90% of the African American community is constantly every day in fear of their life because of the danger that they are encountering. So, I mean, to me, you know, they have to do things a little bit different. So what I would hope is right now we start focusing on different levels, meaning keep the marches up, keep the pressure up, let them know that we are not going to forget and let this die down this time. And then the other thing is we need another side that's dealing with legislation and different things of that nature, you know, so that we could actually deal with some of these laws and some of these rules that really are really kind of like going against us. And so I would say, you know, that would be one of the things. And also, you know what, it's going to have to be a on the boots on the ground community policing, where we have officers that know the community. That, I mean, to be honest with you, they should probably have some officers that had actually lived in the same community they go and police before they even start policing it. They should actually have some people that have a chance to get to know the man that has the barbershop and that young man that's riding the bike around there. Before, we don't even have officer friendly going around anymore. You know, so I would say that we definitely need to make some changes, but keep the pressure up, and people need to be organizing. If you are not in everybody should be in some kind of group, in some kind of organization. I mean, even if it's just one, I want you to be a part of something, even if it's the chess club, and you guys talk about what's happening in your community at the end of playing chess. I want everybody to be in something, because that's the way that we have to, you know, keep it going as far as with that.
That's true. That's very true. Okay, so is there any closing remarks, or you want to let us know any upcoming projects or that you will be involved in before we close out?
Just real quick, I mean, actually, I'm doing a tour with some people, the healing tour, and it's actually KNOW. It's No Justice, and it's also No Peace. And we just came from Minneapolis. We'll be also going to Houston, Atlanta, and Washington, D.C., and Los Angeles. I'm also doing a For My Mother's Sake, where I'm having gang members to serve dinner to mothers who have lost their children to the streets. And we're also putting together a prison invitation rejection program. And that's where we are bringing some of the children of men who are incarcerated out there. But what we're doing is we are rejecting their invitation to come to prison. We're letting them know that there's no rites of passage to come here, and you're not welcome here. And so we have to figure something out.
That sounds great. That sounds wonderful. Okay, well, we really appreciate your presence with us today, and the information you brought is priceless.
Thank you.
Yes. So we look forward to you coming on again soon.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Okay, have a great day, Dr. Ted
You do the
Sutton.
same.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, so now we're going to bring on a video by Dr. and Attorney Malik Zulu Shabazz from the other day. It was, I believe, a press conference in front of the police station. So I'm going to bring that up now, and that will close us out for this presentation. The video with Malik. Okay, so again, I'm Dr. Trinity Amun, the director with Shabazz University, that is founded by Dr. and Attorney Malik Zulu Shabazz, who is also the founder of Black Lawyers for Justice at Black Rights Matter, Shabazz University is at shabazzuniversity.com. We appreciate you joining us today, and hopefully you will join us again on our next presentation.
I have to tip you for that or something, okay? Okay. It's going now. It's going now.
Okay, gotcha.
Just hold it on the side.
Gotcha.
Malik, Alex Shabazz, M-A-L-I. Justice is a legal organization that's dedicated to fighting opposing racial profiling. We are opposed to excessive force. We are opposed to police brutality. I've fought these cases in our practice, and we are here today to address our county in this police department and to address systemic racism in this county. And we are here to announce that we are placing the Howard County Police Department under a one-year investigation to investigate their use of excessive force, false arrest, and other possible constitutional violations against African Americans or Black and people of color. We have to look deeper in the light of George Floyd and in the light of now the public recognition that the use of racial profile, discrimination, excessive force is really routine in police departments around the country, and it is no different right here in Howard County. Now we know that there's a Black county executive that has just been elected. We also know that he has been subjected to incidents of racial taunting and incidents of racist letters. And this county has no shortage of racist incidents that have occurred in this county. As a matter of fact, Howard County is known for white supremacist and Klan activity, and we are investigating to make sure that it hasn't infested this police department. So what I want to say is that our investigation of this police department, our investigation, we're looking into the policies and the practices of our county police department. We want to look into the training. Are these officers adequately trained to deal with the African American? Are these officers here who serve, are they trained to deal with persons with mental health problems? Are they trained to deal with persons with substance abuse problems? Or are they just shoot the kid? Or they use force? Or do they treat the Black man here like an animal, like they treat him everywhere else? And I say that our calls to our officers and residents here who are frightened have asked us to conduct this investigation. And so again, our investigation will pull personnel records. Our investigation will pull training records. Our investigation will pull lawsuits. It will pull citizen complaints and track the complaints to see if the complaints are being followed up on by the heads of this department and the heads of this county. In thorough and a complete investigation, our findings will be released on blackrightsmatter.org, and we will update the public bi-weekly. We will use our investigative tools, all the investigative tools in our power. We will use the freedom of information. We will use litigation if necessary. We will go directly ensure that we are not stonewalled. We want a full and complete investigation and conduct a full and complete investigation into the policing of Howard County and how it relates to blacks. A full investigation into the policies and the practices and the hiring and the training and how it relates to blacks and to what they call minorities in this county. And we do this to hold them accountable in this time of murder of George Floyd and so many others. We want to make sure that we root it out right here in Howard County. That's what we're here for. Black Lawyers for Justice. My name is Malik Shabazz. I am the officer on this investigation.
So you said that there's going to be investigated. Is there any issue that has recent issues that came up on besides were there any issue in the county itself?
As soon as the county executive, Mr. Ball, first of all, I want to say that we expect Chief of Police Lisa Myers and the county executive Calvin Ball and the city council here to fully comply with our investigation. As soon as the George Floyd incident broke out here, the county executive received threatening and racist communications and letters from white supremacist forces in the county. And there's been a history here over the last 20 years of documented cases of planned activity, spray painting of racist, emblems here. And we know that the busing issue has been big here, and racism around that. And we get calls. I have gotten specific calls, and residents say, I'm afraid to come out public. Residents have said, I'm afraid to come out publicly against the police. But we are going to come back here. I'm going to say here is that on July 13th, Monday, there will be a demonstration here, and there will be witnesses here that will talk not only about policing in this county, but they will be here to demonstrate against systemic racism here in Howard County. I'll be back with some of my initial findings and investigative measures to explain how that systemic racism in the county has infiltrated police department.
So you investigated the county also just
I'm specifically here narrowly focused on the county, but that investigation may broaden to systemic racism in the county itself, mainly as it pertains to the justice system, court system, or the prosecutors prosecuting blacks or African Americans equally and fairly as they do whites, on the sentences and the sentencing measures. Are they equal or are they fair? This is what we're charged with here in Howard County. This is a serious investigation.
Is there a reason why you're here in Howard County as opposed to another surrounding jurisdiction?
We were in Fairfax County. In Fairfax County just yesterday, we're conducting a similar investigation in Fairfax County. So an officer, Timberlake, just been arrested for just being caught on camera using excessive force and tasering Lamont there in Fairfax. And historically, first time ever, a Fairfax County police officer is charged with a crime of arrest. We know that that only occurred in personnel training records. We will use litigation tactics, Freedom of Information Act, and we'll find out and get to the bottom. And if I'm wrong, I'll be more than happy to be proven wrong. I don't believe that I will.
Sure, as far as the police,
We're looking at policing is under review in every department across America. It's under the congressional review right now. Federal laws are being passed to address every police department. So we move beyond the level of just looking at a specific incident. There have been many incidents, but this here is a part of the policy of proactively investigating police departments will suspect racial profiling and uneven treatment force exists in this county, one of those suspected areas. That's how it is. That's how it's taken. Black voice and justice. That's all I have to say. Be back here again. Any more questions?
Yeah, so you'll be back July 13th, you said,
July 13th.
with initial findings, and you guys organizing this protest on the 13th?
On the 13th, National Action Network, Reverend Al Sharpton, black people from this area. No Black Lives Matter. Black Panther Party, local groups. They're going to be here. They're going to be here on July 13th. But equally as important, there will be county residents. My investigation will not be that. I will give you further information on the scope of our investigation and our initial